Hey there, full moon forecast here. We're going to have the full moon in, excuse me, in Revati Nakshatra in Pisces on October 11th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Very interesting full moon. It's going to be in Pisces, which of course is opposite Virgo, so it's the Virgo-Pisces axis. We had the new moon in Virgo, which of course is ruled by Mercury, and so that new moon was the beginning of that cycle, which has to do with organizing details, managing all of the different processes and details that we need to succeed or do whatever we're doing. Life is in the details, and Virgo is very much about all those details. It also has to do with speech and communication and being precise about those sorts of things. Very much about the world of detail, the world of effort, and the efforts that we need to put forth in order to, give you a little shot of Shiva and Parvati, in order to make the world the place we want to live in. So it's been very good time for tidying and arranging things, getting our house in order, inner and outer, so to speak. That's what the 30 days of the cycle of Virgo is about. Now the halfway point in that is the full moon. And that's where we need to really balance that with its opposite, principle. Because Virgo is very much about the world of details, and the world of speech and communication and all those things I said. But opposite that is the sign of Pisces, which is all those things that really are not of this world, that can't be measured. All those things bigger than our capacity to measure, our capacity to rationalize and to segment and put into a category and categorize. As much as we are, creatures of form here on earth, and we need to find that divinity in form, which is very much what Virgo is about, that purity of form, purifying and cleaning and managing and categorizing each detail. That's the power of Virgo. If we just keep it in a worldly sense and on a worldly level, then we're going to become, micromanaging and anal. And the problem with Virgo is that there's so many details that we can get overwhelmed and wind up worrying about the details that we can't manage, the things we can't categorize, those things that are bigger than our capacity to, fix and organize. Because those details have to be oriented and connected with a high purpose, otherwise they could just trap us. People that just wind up micromanaging everything. This is one of the problems of Virgo, is the whole capacity or the quality of worrying. It's a tamasic sign. It's worried about the detail that we didn't manage, the detail we didn't get. The one that got through, that might be the one that gets us. That's the nature of Virgo, that worry, that stress. So opposite Virgo principle is the Pisces principle, which is the bigger picture, those things beyond just the details of this world, those things that are metaphysical, those things that are bigger than our rational mind and our mind of measuring and measurements and specifics. So there's a harmony between these two. The harmonic balance between these two is what we can be pondering on the full moon. That's going to happen tomorrow. Now we're at like the last phase. We're very close to that balancing point right now. So we're feeling that. We're feeling the quality of these details and the need to connect them with the bigger picture, which is the nature of Pisces. And so, Pisces is a mutable water sign, so it's about flowing with the emotional vibe and the emotional current of the moment. That's really what the emotions are for, to keep us sensitive in the moment to what's going on. And Pisces is mutable water, which is the water flowing. It's probably the easiest of the water signs, because water naturally flows, and Pisces is the flow of feeling that's always ready to adapt and ready to be oriented towards something, and the understanding and the awareness that even though life might be in the details, those details are always changing. You can't control them. And the biggest thing that we can really understand and flow with is the cosmic flow. And when we're flowing with that, we don't need to worry about all these details and micromanaging them all. Now, of course, the problem with Pisces is we just want to flow with that and then not pay attention to any of the details. These extremes are difficult no matter what. When someone is extreme in one way or the other, then there's problems. But we can understand the same seed principle and avoid the extremes by, by looking at it this way. So when we have the full moon, especially, these extremes are in focus because we have the sun in Virgo, the moon in Pisces. And the sun and the moon are really the two luminaries. The sun is the quality of action. That's why these actions are going on right now with the cycle of having the sun in Virgo. Those are the actions that we're mainly putting forth right now. Is, you're even seeing it with the protest and we're putting forth these actions that really show how these details are working, and we're willing to, march and clarify and communicate these things, right? This is like the actions. But then the feeling, which is the moon, is opposite, which is this needs to be oriented to a larger purpose. It's been funny because I've been noticing how especially like with the Occupy Wall Street movement recently, they're talking a lot more about what's the message, what's the theme, what's the big purpose. Okay, you're out there, organized, very much Virgo, organizing, communicating, very much Virgo. But what's the big message? What's the big point? That's Jupiter, Pisces. What's the message? What's the point? What's the bigger picture? So you can see that as sort of like a microcosm. So this full moon is happening in the nakshatra of Revati, which is ruled by a deity called Pushan, who is like a shepherd deity who helps animals, helps the stray animals find the way home, helps people find their way home, and also leads them home. So it's probably the most gentle of the deities. It's at the very edge of the zodiac. It's happening in sidereal zodiac at like 24 Pisces, which is right as the zodiac is finishing, because then after that it goes into Aries, which is where it starts over again. So there's a theme of endings right now, a big theme of endings, at least psychologically. We're feeling that theme of endings, and the deity Pushan and the nakshatra Revati is where the shepherd guides the soul home after that weary journey. We're feeling kind of weary after that long journey. That starts in Aries, then it culminates in Pisces. So also relaxing into that higher vision and being a shepherd, like shepherding the message to others and being that kind of gentle influence is big with this nakshatra. Now the other things that are really important is Saturn is very close to this full moon. The sun and Saturn are almost exactly joined. So this also feels wearying. Saturn is what's called combust, which means it's very close to the sun. So we're feeling kind of tired, kind of worn out a little bit right now. Like we're not sure we can go the distance, but we're also determined to keep going. It's a combination of those two things. Sun-Saturn also tends to be hard on our self-esteem at times, and so you want to be aware of those things. But the big influence of Saturn is it gives practicality, resolution, forbearance, commitment. It's very good for spirituality, spiritual practices. Saturn opposite the moon in Pisces is great for establishing that sort of monk in solitude kind of thing. So it's a lot of that kind of established inner integrity with this next cycle, with this full moon cycle. This full moon day is a great day to meditate and ponder these things I'm talking about. It'll be Tuesday, October 11th, around 7 p.m. Pacific time. And so that'll be a great time to really ponder and meditate. We also still have Mars going through Cancer, his sign of debilitation, so we're still emotionally kind of amped up. But we also have Mercury and Venus in Libra right now, which is good for relationships and trying to work out and trying to communicate more effectively. And Jupiter is still in Aries retrograde, which is opposite that Mercury, Venus in Libra, which also can help us with our, balancing our self-willed individuality with the need to compromise with others. These are also big themes, but mainly Moon in Pisces, Sun, Saturn in Virgo, good for orienting the details with the bigger picture.